What's happening, beautiful people? Happy Monday, everyone. It's Monday, 7th of September, and here we are. Another beautiful webinar, another market opening. We're 20 minutes into the European opening. We're going to have a look at the charts in a minute. But before that, happy Labor Day, everyone. It's Labor Day in the US and Canada. So the stock markets will be closed today, giving the European markets the opportunity of recovering after the tiny hit they took with the non-farm payroll numbers on Friday. The US dollar traded higher after Friday's job data. Brexit showdown as UK threatens to scrap the divorce deal, the divorce agreement, and oil skids after Saudi price cuts. These are the topics of the day. We're going to get into the charts and into the topics in just a second and see what the markets have prepared for us today. Right, we're starting with dollar up but capped by Friday's U.S. Job data. As you know, Friday we have the non-farm payroll, guys, and the U.S. dollar strengthened a bit following a drop in unemployment numbers. The non-farm payroll numbers came below expectations at 1.3 million versus the 1.4 that was expected by consensus. But having average hourly earnings better than expected and having a drop in the unemployment numbers pushed the dollar a bit higher. And then the S&P 500 and the Dow Jones had the two-day biggest drop in the last couple of weeks. Now, let's see what is going on today on the Asian trading session. The dollar was up on Monday morning in Asia, but gains were capped by trade that was thin due to the Labor Day holiday in the US, as well as Friday data showing a slowdown in job growth in August. The US dollar index that tracks the greenback against a basket of other currencies edged up 0.18% to 92.88. Data from the U.S. Labor Department released on Friday show that U.S. employment growth slowed and permanent job losses increased, with government funding drying up and rising doubts about the sustainability of the U.S. economic recovery. But the data also showed that August jobless rate fell to 8.4% from the 10.2%. That's what gave the U.S. dollar a boost. Now, investors are now focusing on the European Central Bank's inflation forecast before it hands down its policy decision on Thursday, but the policy itself is widely expected to remain unchanged. This is what happened with the US dollar. Let's move on and see what happens with the pound in the Eurozone, guys. Brexit showdown as UK threatens to scrap the divorce treaty. Very, very important news today. Brexit trade talks plunged into crisis on Monday after Britain warned the European Union that it could effectively override the divorce deal it signed unless the bloc agrees to a free trade deal by October 15th. Very interesting end of the year, guys. We're going to have U.S. elections in November. Then in October, we're going to have the divorce deal on the pound. A very, very big end of the year. In one of the most startling turns of the 4-year Brexit saga, Brexit is planning now legislation that will override key parts of the Brexit withdrawal agreement, a step that, if implemented, could threaten a treaty signed in January and stoke tension in Northern Ireland as well. Okay, let's not forget, if UK will decide to get out of the European bloc without a deal, then very likely they will have to reinstitute the border in Northern Ireland, which does not please Northern Ireland whatsoever. So let's see what's going to happen. Section of the internal market bill due to be published on Wednesday are expected to eliminate the legal force of parts of the withdrawal agreement in areas including state aid and Northern Ireland customs, the Financial Times said, citing 3 people familiar with the plans. We expect a press conference and a statement from Boris Johnson today that will very likely say there is no sense in thinking about timelines beyond October 15th. Will we finally see the Brexit happening this year? Will they get another delay? This is the question. They've been delaying it for 4 years, guys. A lot of things happened, and they did not manage to leave the European bloc yet with no agreement. So we're waiting for the statement from Boris Johnson anytime today. Okay, hopefully he will clarify the situation a bit. So investing.com sees the pound as a sell position, at least this morning, until Boris Johnson will hopefully come public today and let us know what is going on. Now, Number 3 on the board today, oil skids after Saudi price cuts, demand optimism fades. We saw a big drop in oil price from $42 on Friday to only $39.23. Over $2.50 drop in only a couple of days in oil. Everyone is looking at the buy signals that might pop up at some point today. We're looking at an oversold RSI and an oversold stochastic pointing upwards, which hopefully will give oil a bit of a boost. But the market's remaining closed today due to Labor Day. We will get an answer very likely tomorrow afternoon at 4:30 Europe time when the US market opens. Now, let's see what happened with oil. Oil prices dropped more than 1% on Monday after earlier hitting their lows since July. Saudi Arabia made the deepest monthly price cuts for supply to Asia in 5 months, while optimism about demand recovery cooled amid the COVID pandemic. U.S. West Texas Intermediate crude skid 51 cents or 1.3% to 39.26 earlier on. After earlier dropping to 38.55, the lowest since July 10. The Labor Day holiday today marks the traditional end of the peak summer demand season in the US and the renewed investors' focus on the current lackluster fuel demand in world's biggest oil user. China, the world's biggest oil importer, which has been supporting prices with record purchases, slowed their intake in August, according to customs data on Monday. Right, let's see what Jeffrey Halley said in a note. Abundant supplies, fears of loosening OPEC Plus compliance, and the end of U.S. driving season and stay long positioning have all combined to erode confidence in oil, Owanda senior market analyst Jeffrey Halley said in a note. The world's top exporter, Saudi Arabia, cut the October official selling price for Arab light crude it sells to Asia by the most since May, indicating demand remains weak in Asia. Is Saudi Arabia the largest market by region? In August, the OPEC Plus group eased production cuts to 7.7 million barrels per day after global oil prices improved from historic lows caused by coronavirus pandemic, cutting fuel demand. On top of that, oil is also under pressure as U.S. companies increased their drilling for new supply after the recent recovery in oil prices. U.S. energy firms last week added oil and natural gas rigs for the second time in the past 3 weeks, according to a weekly report by Baker Hughes. Okay, so this is what's happening with oil, guys. Let's have a quick look at the charts and see how the markets opened today. Let's go on a 15-minute chart. Hopefully, we're going to get a bit of clear indication. There you go. The euro opened stronger after it fell a bit on Friday following the good news on the US dollar. Well, actually, the drop in unemployment and the increase in average hourly earnings and not the increase in non-farm payrolls. The pound is correcting against the US dollar. Probably Boris Johnson didn't announce the time where he's going to go public today and release the press conference. So until then, the European currencies are very likely to strengthen against the US following the Labor Day holiday and the US markets being closed. Okay, let's look at USD JPY. The US dollar opened on a negative versus the Japanese yen. The Australian dollar, again, opened on a positive. We see the Aussie dollar pushing a bit higher after it dropped a bit on Friday. USD Canadian still hasn't moved much. Okay, both markets are closed today, so Europe is the one that's giving the tone of trading today. Okay, we see the S&P 500 and the Dow Jones that plunged drastically, I'd say. Thursday and Friday, there was a massive sell-off on the markets on Thursday, guys. Okay, and it continued on Friday as well. Okay, we're looking at the US dollar index futures, again, trading a bit lower. And the gold futures waiting for the boost. Gold is trading at its lows right now. We're looking at in an oversold RSI and an oversold stochastic. So we're waiting for gold to potentially strengthen a bit during the day today. Okay, especially considering there is no pressure in the afternoon coming from the US front. Okay, light crude again is currently trading at 42.12. Okay, way in the oversold was light crude as well. Let's have a look at the charts on a 1-hour chart. There you go. We can see the RSI and the stochastic again in the oversold sections pointing upwards. So with a bit of luck, with a bit of trading volume from you guys, basically, we will see oil price heading higher towards the 43 mark today. Fingers crossed. Okay, let's have a quick look at Bitcoin, your favorite guys. Bitcoin is trading just about 10,000 following a drop that happened on Thursday and Friday. You see, guys, Bitcoin is reacting very, very similar to the dollar index many times, and to the S&P 500 and the Dow Jones. They tend to move together. I don't know what the correlation is. Bitcoin is decentralized. It does not... it's not manipulated, let's say, by any central governments, any authority. So it's only the people's trust, the people's boost that give that set the levels for the Bitcoin. Now, Bitcoin again, it's way in the oversold level, looking at stochastic, in the oversold level, looking at RSI as well. So we are waiting for a bit of movement on the Bitcoin. Again, fingers crossed, guys. Hopefully, Bitcoin will push a bit higher today. But remember, it could go both ways. No one knows exactly what's going to happen. All you can do is just do your homework, have a look at technical analysis, and wait for the markets to react. Okay, we cannot move the markets ourselves. We need a big thing to happen on the market, or we need a big batch of traders to place a lot of buy or sell positions to be able to move the price for a bit. Let's have a quick look at the economic calendar and see what's expected for the week, what big events we have in the economic calendar. We see Labor Day in the States today and Canada as well. We see Independence Day in Brazil. So happy Independence Day, Brazil. Okay, we saw a few announcements released already on the Chinese yuan. Okay, we saw German industrial production coming below expectations at only 1.2% versus an expectation of 4.7%, which disappointed a bit. And probably many people were expecting the euro to weaken a bit. But again, having Labor Day today and having the US markets closed, very likely the Europeans got a bit of courage in buying the euro and selling the US dollar, since the US can't counteract. Yeah, they can't answer back today. Okay, we had the Halifax house price index just released on the pound. Came out lower than expectations at 1.6%. But again, the European currencies seem to be pushing a bit higher in the absence of American counterparty. Now, let's see what's happening tomorrow. Tomorrow, guys, we're going to have the retail sales monitor released at 2:01. Okay, followed by a few announcements on the Japanese yen, and then the trade balance, the German trade balance, and a couple of announcements, the GBP coming from the Eurozone. Okay, on Wednesday, okay, we have home loans on the Aussie dollar and the business confidence on the Kiwi dollar, yeah, followed by a few announcements on the Chinese yuan. Then the Swiss franc hopefully will be shining with unemployment rate, which is expected to come lower, okay, than the previous 3.2%. Okay, German 10-year bond auction tomorrow at 12:40, shortly after lunch, Europe time. And then finally, a few announcements in the afternoon on the US dollar, okay, and on the Canadian dollar. We have the interest rate decision on the Canadian dollar on Wednesday, guys, okay, Wednesday afternoon. Very important. Followed by a press conference. Usually that's what happens, yeah? After the interest rate decision, you have a press conference. So we're going to see a lot of volatility on the Canadian dollar. They expect, yeah, they forecast the interest rate decision to remain unchanged to 0.25%. Shortly after that, we're going to have the Cushing crude oil inventories, okay, and the API weekly crude oil stock. Okay, so hopefully oil will recover, okay, from the drop it suffered on Friday and today. Okay, on Thursday, guys, we have the interest rate decision in the Eurozone, which is expected to remain unchanged at 0%. Europe looking to boost economy, especially still fighting with a lot of COVID cases in many European countries. Okay, so again, Thursday, very interesting day on the in the Eurozone. Very good trades on the euro you could get if you get it right. Now, until then, keep an eye on the news, see what's expected from consensus, and see what events will happen between today and Thursday, so you can plan your entry if you want to trade the euro on Thursday. Now, again on Thursday, we're gonna have the crude oil inventories, guys. They're usually announced every Wednesday afternoon, but due to the bank holiday, to the Labor Day holiday today in the States, they pushed the crude oil inventories a day after. So we're gonna see the crude oil inventories on Thursday this week. Okay, don't miss out, because it's a very, very important day on Thursday, and this week seems to be very, very interesting. We're closing the week on Friday with lots of announcements coming on the pound, guys, coming from UK. Okay, we have the trade balance, we have the manufacturing production, we have the gross domestic product being announced, and all this will happen very early in the morning, before lunch. We're talking at 9 o'clock Europe time, GMT +3. Okay, in the afternoon, we're going to have the core CPI on the US dollar. Okay, followed by the usual end of the week Baker Hughes oil recount. Okay, and total oil recount, and the federal budget balance. Okay, this is how we're going to end the week. So very, very important week in the economic calendar. You have plenty of opportunities, guys, especially today. If you wish to trade today, remember the American market is closed, the Canadian market is closed, so probably no volatility will happen in the afternoon at 4:30, Europe time. Okay, I'll come back live at 4:30, 5 o'clock, guys, to see how the markets perform today. And hopefully in the afternoon, I'm going to open a few live positions on my demo account as well. Until then, remember to trade responsibly and may all your trades be in the money. See you in a few hours at the US market opening.